What if everything you believe about money is a lie? What if the freedom you think you have in your financial life was engineered to keep you trapped? Because today, we're uncovering a disturbing truth. There are hidden financial rules you never voted for, never agreed to, and never even heard of yet. They silently control your entire life. Rules that decide how much you pay, how fast you fall behind, and why escaping debt feels almost impossible. And the most shocking part? These rules were designed not by accident, but by intention. Stay with me, because once you see the pattern, you'll never look at debt the same way again. To understand how these invisible rules work, we need to go back, not decades, but centuries. Debt was once simple. You borrowed something physical, grain, gold, silver, and you returned it with a little extra. But everything changed when governments and early banking families realized something: controlling debt means controlling people. One name begins appearing again and again in history: the Medici family in the 1400s. They mastered the idea that lending wasn't about helping people. It was about gaining leverage. Fast forward to the 1700s and 1800s, and you see central banks rising. Then the 20th century brings the Federal Reserve, the IMF, the World Bank, giant structures built to control global lending. But here's the twist most people never hear. Debt evolved into the world's most profitable invention. Not for you, not for ordinary people, but for the institutions who write the rules. And those rules were engineered to make escaping debt nearly impossible. Let's break it down chronologically. Step 1. Money stopped being real, 1933 to 1971. Governments detached money from gold. This allowed banks to create loans not backed by anything physical, only promises. When money is based on promises, debt becomes the foundation of the entire system. Step 2. Fractional reserve banking took over. Banks were allowed to lend 10 more money than they actually had. Which means this: every loan creates new money out of thin air. You borrow $200,000 for a house. That money didn't exist before. It was typed into existence, and yet, you spend 30 years paying it back with real sweat, real work, real life. Step 3. The rules of interest were redesigned. This is where the trap gets deadly. Mortgages front-load interest. Credit cards weaponize compounding. Student loans penalize early repayment. Car loans bury you with depreciation. These aren't accidents. These are engineered rules. By the 1980s, governments, central banks, and financial institutions figured out one truth: people in debt are more predictable than people who are financially free. So new rules came in. Credit scoring: you are judged not by who you are, but how well you obey debt. Minimum payments: a trick, because minimum payments keep you paying interest for years longer. Adjustable rate loans: they start low, then strike when you're locked in. Invisible fees: late fees, over-limit fees, processing fees, origination fees. Half of these didn't exist 40 years ago. Debt wasn't just a product anymore. It became a lifestyle, a system, a cage. The breaking point came during the late 1990s and early 2000s. Banks realized something shocking. If people went into debt earlier in life, they would stay in debt longer. So what happened? Student loans exploded. Tuition prices rose 1,200% over 40 years, while salaries barely moved. Car loans got longer. From 36 months gives 48, gives 60, gives 72, gives now 96-month loans. Mortgages grew. Housing prices grew faster than income for the first time in modern history. Credit cards targeted younger and poorer consumers, because the earlier you start paying interest, the more profit is extracted across your entire life. By 2010, the trap was complete. People were entering adulthood already buried. What happens when you trap an entire population in lifelong payments? You get depression levels of savings. Over 60% of Americans can't afford a $400 emergency. Record household debt: over $18 trillion, the highest in human history. Lifetime renters: people can't afford homes, so banks and hedge funds buy neighborhoods and rent them back. Chronic stress: debt becomes a permanent background pressure, a silent tax on your mental health. The debt trap doesn't just take money. It takes time, energy, dreams, freedom. Governments blame each other. Banks blame consumers. Politicians promise reforms, but nothing changes. Why? Because the system has one rule: debt must grow forever. If people stopped borrowing tomorrow, the financial system would collapse. And that's why no one will fix it. because the people who could fix it profit from keeping it broken. Today, the same trick repeats just with new names. Buy now, pay later, interest disguised as convenience. Subscription inflation, your entire life becomes a monthly bill. Unlimited credit limits engineered to stretch your spending. Inflation, a stealth tax that silently makes debt harder to pay off. Every new financial idea has one purpose: to keep you borrowing longer than ever before. And the data proves it. The average person now carries 3+ credit cards, 2 car loans in a lifetime, 30+ years of mortgage payments, 15 to 40 years of student loan debt. The system has achieved its goal. Debt is no longer a temporary phase. It is a lifelong subscription. You weren't meant to escape. You were meant to participate. To work gives borrow, gives pay, gives repeat. But here's the truth. Once you see the trap, you can start breaking it. 3 key takeaways. 1. Debt is engineered, not accidental. Every rule from interest to fees is designed to extract money across your entire life. 2. The system depends on you staying in debt. If people truly became financially free, the system would collapse. 3. Escape requires awareness, not luck. The moment you understand how the game works, you stop being the target. Final warning: if you ignore this, nothing changes. The same cycle repeats, the same rules trap you. The same lifelong payments continue. But if you pay attention, you gain the one advantage the system hates: control. Call to action. If you want more videos exposing hidden financial systems, money traps, and the secrets that shape your life,